So, our first reader is an author, editor, and all-around fun gal. When she isn't wrangling words, she hangs out with her husband and friends, watches geeky TV shows, plays board games, and knits a blanket that she swears will be done someday. Some know her as a crazy cat lady, but since the ratio of humans to cats in her household is well below the requirement, she does not qualify. You can learn more about her and her work at kellyswails.com. Please welcome Kelly Swails. Happy? All right.
Can you hear me now? Yes? Okay, cool. So yes, it's a good height for me.
All right.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, my name's Kelly Swails, and I'm going to be reading from the first chapter of my book called This May Go on Your Permanent Record. It's a young adult novel that's set in a school for world domination, which is a topic is quite timely, as it turns out. So, in all seriousness, if you've got some young people in your life that you want to kind of discuss some of these topics of, say, isolationism, there is a subplot that runs throughout that book that might be a good jumping off point for discussion. So you can get it on Amazon.com, or I just happen to have a copy here that you can buy for me tonight. Chapter 1. It seemed like a good idea at the time. Having a drunk for a mother was a huge pain in the ass. I put my fists on my hips and I grimaced as I surveyed the kitchen. One of the cabinet doors hung open and dirty wine glasses and plates filled the sink. A coffee spill had dried on the gold Formica counter. An empty peanut butter jar sat on the sink, a sticky butter knife next to it. An empty bottle of Jack Daniels sat on the floor next to the overflowing garbage. The whole place smelled like sour milk and burnt popcorn. Our kitchen was small even by trailer standards, and so the mess looked 3 times worse than it would in a bigger kitchen. Though maybe people with bigger kitchens didn't let their place get this messy, or they had people to clean for them. Dad took off when I was 3, and Mom's been looking for him in the bottom of the bottle ever since. That she'd made herself a sandwich surprised me, really. She didn't eat unless I shoved a bowl of canned ravioli under her nose, and sometimes not even then. The last few days I had been busy registering myself for freshman year at the high school and getting my vaccinations updated, so I hadn't had time to cook or look after Mom, both of which needed to be done. Okay, Sally, this won't take long if you just do it, I said as a way to motivate myself. I pulled my hair into a loose ponytail. First, I got to work hand-washing the dishes. I used the last of the dish soap, and so I wrote it on the grocery list. After that, I cleaned the old food out of the mostly bare fridge and took the garbage out. Crickets chirped in the darkness as I walked the gravel alley to the dumpster. When I got close, the smell of rotten garbage hung in the humid late summer air, and so I held my breath. I didn't have a weak stomach, but why take the chance? Puking outside sucked. No matter what spot you picked, puke splashed on your shoes. On my way back, I stretched and listened to the quiet streets. We'd moved to this small town a few months ago, and in her more lucid moments, Mom liked to say that they rolled up the sidewalks at night, which was her way of saying there weren't enough bars. Everything but the taverns closed by 9, and even those closed by 11. At least we had some decent internet service. When I got back inside, I checked the old cuckoo clock on the kitchen wall. The grocery store closed in 20 minutes. If I rode my bike, I could make it there in plenty of time to pick up some food for the week. I rummaged in the drawer next to the phone, but couldn't find the familiar blue link card. I nibbled my thumbnail and checked the center of the table. Sometimes Mom stuck papers there between the salt and pepper shakers, but I came up empty. Same with the small pile of junk mail on the counter. My stomach sank. I hadn't lost it, had I? Had it fallen out of my pocket without me realizing? No. I had bought eggs and bread 4 days ago, and I remembered putting the card away. I checked the drawer again, and with the same result. I pressed my lips together, took a deep breath, and walked through the living room and down the narrow hall to Mom's bedroom. Where's the food card? Why do you need it, Sally? She said without taking her eyes off the little TV perched on her dresser. An episode of Hoarders filled the fuzzy screen and I grimaced. I didn't care to see anyone's miserable life, but Mom got sucked in by it. Maybe she had told herself those people were worse off than us. To, buy food, I said. Her eyes flickered as she took a long pull from her wine glass, and I knew she had done something with it. What? What? She repeated, her tone belligerent. I balled my hands into fist. What did you do with the card, Mom? Nothing, she said. Bullshit, I said. Watch your mouth, young lady, she said. This time her words slurred a little. Where is it? I should ground you. She'd never grounded me or punished me in any way. One would have to have presence of mind to do that. Where is it? I crossed my arms. You might as well tell me. I can do this all night. Her cheeks flushed for a few moments before she deflated. Richard Fritter. My fingers tingled. What? She cleared her throat. Richard traded me cash for it, she said. I clutched my biceps so I wouldn't throttle her. Richard lived in one of the other trailers. He didn't work, but he supplemented whatever income he had by trading money for food cards. Sometimes he'd trade sellable items, like a DVD player, for food. It was never an even trade. I bet he had a cabinet full of Cheerios. I didn't have to ask, but I did anyway. What did you need money for? I said. I know it wasn't for my school books. Apparently, my comment made it through the wine because she winced before glancing at the half-empty bottle on the floor beside her. I'm sorry, baby, she said. I rolled my eyes as I walked away. Tell it to someone who cares, I said under my breath. When I got to my room, I slammed the door hard enough to shake the walls before pacing the floor. Mom turned up the volume on her show, probably so I wouldn't hear her crying, and that made me even angrier. I shook out my hands and cried out in frustration. The worst part wasn't that she had traded the rest of our grocery money for alcohol. The worst part was that deep down, I had known as soon as I couldn't find the card in the drawer. I rubbed my hands across my face. My cheeks were only a little wet, and I took a deep breath. Nothing could be done about it now. Richard wouldn't take back a trade even if I brought him something of value, and we needed food. My gaze settled on the stack of stolen Android phones on the little desk in the corner. I hadn't stolen the phones. I'd gotten them off the darknet, which is sort of a black market internet. I traded some computer parts for them, and those I had stolen from a place that recycles electronics. Richard wasn't the only deal breaker in the trailer park. For the last few weeks, I had been messing with some security system software, and now I had an opportunity to test it. I gathered up my equipment, shoved it into my backpack, and left the trailer without telling Mom goodbye. I didn't feel great about breaking and entering into the local grocery store, but what choice did I have? A girl's got to eat. Plus, I wanted to take the software for a spin and see what I could do. I took some deep breaths to settle my nerves as I made a plan up on the fly. Shadows danced in the streetlights as a few cars slowly drove past me, none of them cops. The grocery store sat in the middle of the business district on Main Street. Some fellow miscreants had knocked out the only streetlight in the parking lot, and I thanked them as I scurried along the side of the building and rounded the corner. Behind the store, weeds poked through cracks in the concrete. My pulse pounded in my ears in time with my heart. I jumped as a cat howled and ran from behind the dumpster. The phones fell heavy in my bag as I weighed my options. 1. Not breaking in. It wouldn't be the first time I'd gone hungry, but it would also mean that Mom wouldn't have decent food either. She didn't care, but if I didn't get some nutrition in her, she'd be worse off than she is now. 2. Not breaking in, but getting food some other way. Not sure how that would happen. I could trade with Richard maybe, but I'd get the short end of that deal and I couldn't afford that. 3. Breaking in. I'd have a full belly and Mom wouldn't die of scurvy. Plus 3A, I'd get a chance to test my new toy. That decided it. My stomach twisted into a knot as I slipped my backpack off my shoulders. I looked at the back door. I pulled the phones out of my bag and held them in my hand as my heart pounded hard. I'd do it just this once to see if my hacking skills were up to the challenge. I promised myself that if I found myself in this situation again, I'd figure something else out. That calmed my nerves and brought my heart rate somewhere closer to normal. Just this once, to see if I could. I licked my lips and approached the back door. I tried the door just for kicks. Locked. I shrugged and powered up one of the phones. They were all piggybacked together in a series of sorts, and so when I turned on the first one, the other two blipped to life. I needed the power of the 3 to do what I was about to do. I stuck an attachment under one of the headphone jacks and smiled when the phone recognized it. I pulled a stolen RFID badge from my pack. It belonged to some guy named Frank that worked at a company named Winex. I had no idea who Frank was or what Winex did. Another find on the darknet. And called up the app I had downloaded and punched in a few numbers. First I swiped the card to erase it and prime it, then held it up to the black box. I imagined the information from the last card reading jumping to the card. After a long few seconds, I swiped the card again. I held back a whoop when I read the display on the phone. It had worked. I messed with a few screens and swiped the card a final time. Now Winex Frank's card would act like a grocery store employee's card. I held my breath as I waved the card in front of the black pad. A little light on the top flashed red and then green as the lock clicked open. It had worked. I had done it. I stared at the door for a second before hustling inside. I zipped the phones and the ID into my bag before shouldering it. Darkness enclosed me once the door closed behind me, and I tried to breathe normally. No alarms, no bells, no anything. I felt the wall until I found a light switch and clicked it on. I stood in a short hallway. No cameras hung from the ceiling, which I found interesting. A cluttered office with 2 desks and a safe in the corner sat behind the first door on the right. Security camera hung from that corner, so I shut the door and opened the one across the hall. I found a small room filled with stacks of cardboard boxes. Pay dirt. I had just found the back. Surely they wouldn't miss a few items from there. Emergency lights kept the place from being completely dark, even as they threw shadows across the floor. There were cameras here, but it was too late to back out now. I looked away from the corners and snooped through the boxes. I found a box cutter laying on the floor and used it to open a box of dish soap. I shoved a bottle into my bag before opening a box of peanut butter, and I grabbed a jar and put that in my bag. I found a plastic pallet full of bread and added a loaf. I slipped a few packages of bologna from the small cooler in the corner before deciding I didn't have room for too much more. A big box of 5-pound mesh bags of oranges sat near the door. It wouldn't fit in my backpack. My stomach rumbled as I stared at the fruit. Before I could think about it too hard, I grabbed a bag and left. My heart started beating faster as soon as my feet touched the concrete of the back alley. I had done it. I'd stolen food from the grocery store. I started from home and didn't look back. I kept my head down and walked through the darkened streets. At least, I tried to. Thinking about a possible third strike with the court system made my heart beat hard in my tightened chest. The mesh bag had cut into my flesh, and so I switched hands. Why did they make oranges so hard to carry, or make the bag so heavy? I shook out my now free hand as I turned the corner and stopped dead in my tracks. A cop car sat parked in the middle of the block with an officer in the driver's seat. He had that bored look that cops get when their mental radars are working hard. I recovered and started walking just a bit faster than I had before. Not fast enough to look suspicious. I hoped, but not dawdling either. I avoided eye contact as I got closer, and I passed the car. I held my breath. Nothing happened. I figured I was in the clear until he opened his door when I was about 10 feet past him. Nice evening for a walk. I stopped and turned to face him. Little hot, I said. Not compared to the rest of the summer. He leaned against the squat car a little too casually. He was tall, maybe in his 30s, and had dark hair. He also had a small mustache that creeped me out. But I wouldn't expect you to know that since you just moved here. Doing a little grocery shopping? How did he know I had just moved? I switched the oranges to the other hand. My throat tightened and I didn't trust myself to speak, so I nodded. The officer chuckled. You're going to need to work on your poker face. Is your name Sally Clark? Sweat ran down my back. How did he know that? Yes, I croaked. He smirked. I think we both know how you got those oranges. He pushed off the car and started for me. I backed up a few steps before turning and running as hard as I could for home.